Welcome to Bookpodz. Today we are launching into, well, one of the most talked about books on power and influence out there, Robert Greene's 1998 work, The 48 Laws of Power.
Ah, yes. It's quite the book. It really forces you, doesn't it, to look at the world almost like a game board. And Green, he doesn't pull any punches right from the start. He calls power this weird game with all these hidden rules nobody wants to admit exist.
Right, and he positions the book as revealing those rules.
Exactly. He says he's giving you the world straight as it is, calls it a straight shot of whiskey, no sugarcoating, no moral filter, just this is how things often work.
And his justification for reading it is basically survival, isn't it?
Pretty much. Green argues flat out that being ignorant of these dynamics, these laws, leads to failure. Painful failure.
So for you, the listener, knowing this stuff is supposedly key to avoiding, quote, a life full of pain and misery, or years of professional damage or emotional trauma just from being too naive.
Yeah, and he has that phrase, doing people's faces, which seems to mean trusting too quickly, based on how someone seems, rather than on, cold calculation.
Okay, so that's the setup. But the book isn't just a playbook for manipulation, right? He stresses defense, too.
Oh, absolutely. That's a key point Green makes. It gets misread sometimes as just being about offense, about taking power. But he insists it's just as much, maybe more, about defending yourself.
Defending against what, specifically?
Against, as he puts it, malevolent, aggressive, toxic people. It gives you the rules of combat so you can recognize attacks and protect yourself in these, well, competitive environments, whether that's work or even personal life sometimes.
Okay, let's dig into that practical side then. Maybe starting with Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. That sounds pretty fundamental for survival.
It really is, according to Green. It's about indispensability. If you can be easily replaced, you're fundamentally vulnerable. His argument is quite stark. The second you're dysfunctional, someone younger, cheaper, and better looking, as he puts it, could take your spot. Real power isn't about being liked. It's about being the only one who can do what you do.
And Greene actually uses himself as an example here, which is interesting.
He does. He says his writing style, the sheer depth of research, the historical angle, it's all so different and so peculiar that it's not replicable.
So that uniqueness lets him call the shots.
Essentially, yes. He gets to write his own ticket because nobody else can deliver quite the same thing. It's mastery creating security.
That idea of security then leads quite naturally into Law 13, doesn't it? When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest.
Never to their mercy or gratitude, yes. It's a tough one, but it follows logically.
It feels quite brutal, that dismissal of loyalty or past kindness. But Greene insists pragmatic arguments always win.
Always. He points to that historical case, 433 BC, Athens choosing an ally.
Right. The Corinthians versus the Corcyans.
Exactly. The Corinthians reminded Athens of old debts, past favors, appealing to loyalty.
Standard approach, you'd think.
But the Corcyans, they skipped all that. They talked purely about mutual interests. Specifically, how combining their navies right now would help Athens against Sparta, their common enemy.
And Athens went with the Corcyans. Instantly forgot the debt.
Instantly. It's a stark lesson, isn't it? People act on what benefits them now. Past favors, they just don't carry the same weight. So you need to frame requests around their immediate gain.
Okay, so you've made yourself essential. You know how to ask for help. What's next? Perception. Image.
Precisely how the world sees you. And this brings us to maybe the most famous law, Law 1. Never outshine the master.
Ah, the ego management law. This one feels tricky.
It's incredibly tricky. It's a fundamental warning, making your boss, your superior, feel insecure or overshadowed by your brilliance. It's a Pyrrhic victory.
You win the battle, lose the war.
Pretty much. It inspires fear and insecurity, and that costs you way more in the long run. You actually need to make them look good, even better than they are sometimes.
The cautionary tale is Nicolas Fouquet, right? Louis XIV's finance minister.
The classic example. Throws this unbelievably lavish party for the king.
Thinking he's honoring him.
Exactly. But the party was so spectacular, the palace so grand, the king felt diminished, upstaged in his own kingdom.
And the result?
Fouquet was arrested the very next day, spent the rest of his life in prison. Just like that.
Wow. Okay, so the counterexample is Galileo.
Yes. Galileo needed patrons. He needed protection. When he discovered Jupiter's moons, a huge scientific breakthrough.
He didn't shout about his own genius.
No. He dedicated the discovery to the powerful Medici family. He even linked the moons to their astrological symbols, flattering them immensely.
So he used his achievement to boost their status.
masterfully, secured his funding, his position. The lesson for you today. It's not just about avoiding huge parties. It's about managing your visibility, making sure the boss feels central, feels important, especially online, maybe.
Good point. Okay, after navigating the boss, we get to Law 5.
Mm.
So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life.
This is your shield, your currency. Greene calls reputation the cornerstone of power.
Meaning, a strong one can win battles for you.
Absolutely. It can intimidate and win without you even doing anything, but if it slips, you're instantly vulnerable, an easy target.
The military example is powerful here, like Erwin Rommel in WWII.
The Desert Fox. Yeah. His reputation for being cunning, unpredictable, aggressive, it was so strong that Allied commanders were often demoralized before the battle even began, just knowing they were facing Rommel.
That's serious psychological impact.
Huge. And that power of perception flows right into Law 6. Court attention at all costs.
Be seen, don't be invisible.
Right. It seems counterintuitive sometimes. We value quiet competence, but Greene says invisibility is death in the power game. Everything is judged by appearance. Unseen means you count for nothing.
So you need to stand out.
You have to. Think of someone like Picasso. He embraced controversy. He'd rather paint something out of the ordinary and ugly, as Greene puts it, than be ignored.
So any publicity is good publicity.
In this context, yes. It generates attention, makes you conspicuous. Even negative attention keeps you in the game, keeps you relevant.
Okay, that makes sense in a noisy world. Let's shift to engagement strategy. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends, learn how to use enemies. This feels like another one that pushes back against common wisdom.
It absolutely does. Greene argues friends are dangerous because the emotional connection makes them prone to envy.
They expect more, they know your weaknesses.
Both. And they feel they deserve similar success. So betrayal can come quicker, fueled by that envy and knowledge.
He uses the example of Michael III, the Byzantine emperor.
Yes, saved by his friend Basilius, showered him with favor. And Basilius, driven by greed, ends up murdering Michael to take the throne himself. A grim illustration of misplaced trust.
So what's the alternative? Use enemies.
It sounds paradoxical, but Greene argues former enemies can become more loyal allies.
Why?
Because they have more to prove. They need to demonstrate their new loyalty, overcome the past. They work harder for your trust.
Is there a good example of that?
Emperor Taisu of the Song dynasty is a great one. He faced powerful generals, potential rivals who could easily stage a coup.
Standard practice would be execution,
Yeah.
imprisonment.
Right. But Taisu did something different. He invited them all to a huge banquet, her potential enemies, basically.
Okay.
And at the banquet, he didn't threaten them. He offered them a deal. Retire now, live in luxury estates, wealth, far from power.
A golden handshake, essentially.
Exactly. And they took it. He neutralized his enemies, ended a cycle of violence, all without shedding blood. That's strategically using potential opposition.
Wow, that's clever. And it seems linked to Law 9. Win through your actions, not through argument.
Yes, because arguing, even if you're right, creates resentment. Greene calls arguments petty victories.
Petty, why? Because they don't achieve lasting change.
Precisely. You might win the point intellectually, but you've wounded their pride. That resentment sticks around far longer than any agreement you forced.
Like the engineer who argued with Mucianus about the ships.
The perfect tragic example. The engineer was technically correct about the ships needed, but he argued publicly, challenged authority directly, wouldn't back down. Mucianus had him executed. Not because he was wrong, but because he argued instead of deferring or demonstrating.
So the lesson is, show, don't tell. Demonstrate your point through results.
Exactly. Let your actions speak. And when you do act, Law 28 says, enter action with boldness.
No hesitation.
Hesitation is dangerous, Greene warns. Interestingly, he suggests mistakes made boldly are often easier to fix with more boldness than mistakes born from timidity.
Okay, explain that. How does more boldness fix a bold mistake?
Think of the con man, Count Victor Lustig. He sold the Eiffel Tower. Twice. As scrap metal.
That's incredible audacity.
It is. His success wasn't in the details of the scam, it was the sheer confidence. He acted with such certainty that people were paralyzed, they didn't dare question him. If doubt arose, he doubled down on the boldness.
Like Mike Tyson in the ring. The intimidation factor.
That's a great analogy. Opponents were often beaten psychologically before the first punch, just by his projected certainty. His boldness establishes dominance, makes the other side flinch.
But boldness isn't just recklessness.
Right.
There's calculation involved.
Crucial distinction. Boldness is calculated risk, quick assessment leading to decisive action. Recklessness is just acting without thought. Lustig calculated that his confidence would override scrutiny.
Okay, that makes sense. This leads us towards the maybe the more advanced laws. Timing, perception, adaptability.
The higher levels of the game, yes. Starting with Law 35. Master the art of timing.
Don't rush, don't lag.
Exactly. Hurrying shows a lack of control. You need patience. You have to wait for the right moment, like fruit ripening, and then strike fiercely.
The master of this was Joseph Fouché, the French police minister.
Phenomenal example. The man survived the French Revolution, the Terror, Napoleon. Constant regime changes. How? Perfect timing. He had an uncanny ability to sense danger, to switch allegiances just before the tide turned. He knew precisely when to act and when to lay low. Act too soon, you're a traitor. Too late, you're executed with the old regime. His timing saved his neck countless times.
But if you get that successful, like Fouché, you hit Law 46. Never appear too perfect. This feels really counterintuitive.
It does. We're taught to strive for perfection, hide flaws. But Greene says appearing flawless is a strategic blunder.
Why?
It breeds envy. Silent, dangerous envy. People admire you, sure, but as Greene puts it, it's unhappy admiration. They resent you for highlighting their own shortcomings, and that resentment festers.
So what do? Intentionally mess up?
Not exactly mess up, but it's smart to occasionally display defects, admit to harmless vices.
Make yourself seem more human.
Exactly. More human, more approachable. It gives people something small and safe to criticize, and it deflects the really dangerous envy that perfection inspires.
Which brings us all the way to the end. Law 48. Assume formlessness.
The ultimate adaptability. If you take a fixed shape, have a visible, rigid plan, you're easy to target. Your enemy knows exactly where to hit you.
Like the Spartans against Athens.
Classic case. The Spartans had the best infantry, a fixed, powerful way of fighting, but they lost to Athens. Why?
Because they wouldn't change.
They were unwilling to change their views, couldn't adapt their strategy, they were rigid, predictable. Athens, meanwhile, was constantly reforming, adapting, they were fluid.
So the ideal is to be like water.
That's the philosophy Greene invokes, echoing Bruce Lee. You must be shapeless, formless like water. Be water, my friend. Adaptable, unpredictable, flowing around obstacles.
Okay, so to wrap up, the 48 Laws of Power gives you this framework, these rules governing power dynamics. Knowing them is presented as essential for survival, whether you use them for offense or, perhaps more importantly, for defense.
Right. We've covered a lot: dependence, perception, action, timing. But there's one final thought, maybe for you to consider on your own, building on all this. It comes from Law 47. In victory, learn when to stop.
Knowing when enough is enough.
Exactly. Greene is very clear. The moment of success, of victory, is often the most dangerous moment.
Why is that? Arrogance.
Arrogance, overconfidence, feeling invincible. You achieve your goal, but then you push further, wanting more, driven by ego. And in doing so, you often overreach, create new enemies, and undo your own success.
So the trap is letting victory go to your head.
It's the ultimate trap when you finally start gaining power. Set your goal, achieve it, consolidate, and then stop. Don't let that successful feeling push you past the point of wisdom, a crucial thing to remember.
Definitely something to think about. Until next time, keep exploring those ideas.